Hello everyone, and welcome back to Cosplay Tea Time, a fun community of cosplayers bringing you podcast recordings where we'll talk about different themes such as fandoms, animes, the art of cosplaying, conventions, holidays, colors, and so much more. Today we're bringing our first topic with the art of cosplaying, finally this season, which is going to be about convention etiquette. So this is going to be all about conventions. I know in the past we did our conventions tips and tricks videos. We've been covering some conventions here and there, and we also did a tea etiquette video as well. That was very fun to do. But now we're going to combine conventions and etiquette into one on how folks should expect to behave in convention, what are some things to kind of consider before going to a convention, and just overall how to be fun, or how to be safe and how to have fun at convention. There we go. Alright, but before we get into today's theme, as always, I like to start with introducing our guest and tea sippers here with me, starting with...
Hi, I'm Jason. You can follow me on Instagram or TikTok as Crimson Fire Cosplayer.
Yeah, I'm of course Ackley Attack. I go by he, him, and his pronouns. So you can find me on YouTube as well as of course Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Patreon under the name Ackley Attack TV, and of course Instagram under Ackley Attack 4427. And quite fitting enough, given to the topic, I'm here as Tamaki from Orang High School Host Club, and well, just to please the ladies, a nice little rose, pretty much right here in my hands, because if there's anything I've learned from the character, you have to learn to be a gentleman and please the ladies, like me.
That was well said. That was all said. Yes. Hello, everybody. I'm Mercy. I'm the Cosplay Tea Time mascot. I work with the wonderful host of this show, Jen, that cosplays 45. And I am so happy to be here today because... why not?
Why not? It's going to be the new model besides the do it. Do it.
I dare. I dare.
Okay, so we got all of our guest and tea sippers here. As always, my name is Jen. I go by she, her pronouns. You can find me TikTok, Instagram, and TikTok. YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. There we go. Words are a thing. At Jen Period Cosplays 45. And today I'm just dressed as a kitty cat girl. I guess like a kitty cat maid cafe type of thing. I got inspired when I went on my little adventure to the maid cafe a couple months ago. You can go check out that vlog on my channel. So good stuff. So let's see. I think I have an icebreaker. Oh yes, I have a good icebreaker for you all this evening. So Jason, get ready. What is your funniest cosplay story?
Actually, I don't have any.
Well, I guess on my part, I think from my gather, I think I know throughout my years of course, pretty much cosplaying for sure is that yeah, there are a lot of funny stories on my part, but I think the one that really popped off by far is, of course, years ago when I went to a convention, pretty much right around in 2018, when I went in my gender band Ruby Rose cosplay, where I think someone cosplay was, of course, going as, I think Joker from a Persona, and actually, pretty much, asked me if I was cosplaying as a Garmin. I was like, no, I'm actually cosplaying Ruby, and I guess to be honest, I actually had no idea that Garga is of course supposed to be the gender bend version of Ruby, but hey, I guess now we know for sure, and I think that I got a little joke that I actually incorporated in when I actually went as Ruby for sure is that pretty much, if anything, I would pretty much go for this clever big, or of course I would say some people would usually call me either Ruben or Garget, but you could go ahead and call me a Ruby. So yeah, that was actually the really funny story on my part, and honestly, I never regretted hands down, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Mousey next.
It was Halloween, and Ella decided that instead of just cosplaying Nifty, he had to try and fit me into Nifty's little cat creature too. It didn't work. I don't like cats. No. No.
Oh,
You'll never catch me alive in a cat costume!
it's okay. I'm a nice cat, I will say. I'm very pleasant because this is convention
Yes.
etiquette, so gotta be nice and kind to others. So, yes.
Yes.
Next time, Mousey, maybe I'll dress up as a mouse. We'll see. So I'm a little mouse ears. So that was fun to do. Let me see. It's so funny, Ackley, when you're mentioning your story about like being mistaken for other characters. I had that experience for the first time this year. So I was dressed as Komi-san from Komi Can't Communicate, walking around the convention. At least 3 or 4 people, like different people, came up to me and were like, "Are you cosplaying Yuri from Doki Doki Literature Club?" And I was like, "No, but I can see it." I felt so heartbroken because I had the little notebook and everything, and I had like a little pen that said, "Will you be my friend?" which is Komi's whole thing. So I finally, okay, this turns into a wholesome story because then I met some wonderful cosplay folks, and they had a bunch of stickers, and they had Komi-san stickers. So I put that Komi-san sticker on the front page of the notebook, and I'm like, now people will find out that I'm Komi-san. So yeah, it reminded me of that. So yeah, so a little funny story, and also too, the one that I was going to mention was this past year for State Comic Con. I'm outside in a short sleeve, pink puffed up dress in the cold, in the rain, trying to get pictures and videos and all this stuff. And there's people like driving on the road, and they're like slowing down, like looking at me, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do in this situation. So I just started waving at folks. Just like, oh, hi, I'm just a fairy princess trying to take videos. How's your day going? And stuff. So, yeah. It wasn't funny at the time because I just wanted to sit and cry because I was cold and wet and hungry. I was like, but gosh, my cosplay looks good. So, but yeah, it's funny to look back on that now and just be like, just smile and wave to people as they're coming in. Just enhances the experience. So,
Well,
yeah.
you know the old saying of the more you know.
That's right. Absolutely. So,
we probably even get more weird looks when people see us driving our cars cosplaying. Like,
no.
what?
Maybe.
It's like, who's that?
Who are you trying to be? I never wear my wigs when I drive and stuff because they get like really long and itchy, and I am scared of like getting pulled over and having to explain myself. Like, no, I'll leave the wig off. But I usually wear like a jacket or something like over my cosplay because if I have to like run into the gas station, it's like the.
I think the best excuse to every cop is like, I'm just heading to a children's birthday party, officer. That's all.
That's true. They'd probably be like, oh, okay, whatever, sure. Wish that child a happy birthday from me. Okay. We see that happening. Oh gosh. The things we do. Let me see. Okay, so that was my little funniest cosplay story icebreaker questions. Now we're going to go ahead and jump into today's theme, which again is about convention etiquette. So, just a little short, sweet description. When attending a convention, it is important to be mindful and respectful to people attending the convention, whether they are fellow con-goers, cosplayers, or vendors. Today, guest and tea sippers will be sharing their advice on how to attend a convention with great poise. So we're going to be jumping into that. So we're going to start with our first question being, what are some ideas to keep in mind when attending a cosplay/Comic-Con convention?
Ooh. I would say the very first thing you do is like get an idea of where everything is. So, like, if it's your first time going to something new, you get lost. And it's like, oh, I have this map. I know where to go, or just that going around. Where I get to X, Y, Z. I would say also travel in pairs. just in case something happens. And that's about it.
Well, I guess pretty much on my part, as someone who has actually been to over 30 conventions for well over a decade now, I can tell you that there is some advice I can actually give whenever you go out to a convention. Like, of course, going over a floor plan, as Jason stated, on where you're exactly going to go is definitely one of them. But I guess another thing to really keep in mind is that I think pretty much well before the convention goes around for sure, and even during it, they do have a whole list of rules and stuff that they have listed on their website and stuff. So my biggest advice by far is pretty much go over it by far, so that way you'll get a full understanding and make sure that you actually have a good time for not just yourself, but plenty of others for sure. So I say pretty much going over the rules on their website well in advance, so that way you can get a full idea of course, on what you have to do in order to have a good time and stuff without having to face any consequences. I think you'll be in good hands for sure. And if by any chance you actually forgot hand sound, then don't worry about a thing. Conventions usually give out some program books and stuff, and they would have the rules listed on there as well. So if you actually forgot on what they actually got pretty much listed on their website, you can always look over the rules on the program book and actually read through it and be like, okay, this is what I need to do. I need to comply to it. So yeah, that's my biggest advice by far, aside from going over the floor plan, as Jason mentioned.
An idea I actually got from Bella was that if you go to a convention, you're cosplaying a character, bring a backup character that matches the majority of your makeup, so that way, when you do bring extra makeup in case of touch-ups, or in case you gotta change to another character because of a malfunction, you could totally do that.
It sounds like a good idea. Even just bring in like a pair of comfy clothes to kind of chill out in or something, and still be in that character and just have a casual day.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Even if you don't want to change out, just bring comfortable shoes to keep in a backpack, because Bella, she carries a backpack around in case if she buys anything that she needs at the convention and stuff, and you can just put it in the backpack.
Sounds good. Bring yourself a good backpack. That's what I'm hearing.
Exactly.
The theme I seem to be hearing is also to plan ahead. So before you go to a convention, you need to plan ahead, you need to have a game plan, what you're going to do each day, that sort of thing. I always like check my energy levels the day before. Like make sure, like, you know, am I well rested? You know, did I eat like a breakfast, lunch, snack, that sort of thing. Like, you know, make sure that I'm taking care of myself before I go to convention. And especially like if I know that it's going to be busy, it's like, okay, like I gotta plan, like when am I gonna rest, when am I gonna stop, and all that. So make sure that you plan also too for like rest breaks in between, so that way you can kind of check in with yourself and be like, you know, what do I need right now? Do I need to use the bathroom, fix my cosplay, drink some water? Always drink your water. Even if you're thinking, I don't need water, drink water anyway. So and I do like Ackley's idea of like checking social media and seeing like if they posted, like made a post about like rules for convention, like how to interact with folks and all that. So, because I think 4-State Comic Con does that as well. And they share that every single time because it's important. We got to follow rules and keep everybody safe. So, all right, on to the next, which is what are some guidelines when talking to vendors at conventions?
I think some guidelines would be like if you're going to buy a shirt, like, oh, do you have it in this size, or, you know, just like, what would you recommend?
Well, pretty much on my part, seeing of how I actually pretty much have shopped around at vendors and artists whenever I go to conventions and stuff. I think I know hands down they're really fun to look around if you want to buy some things and stuff, especially if some friends you know are actually pretty much having one of their own by far. So my biggest advice by far is don't hold up the person running the vendor for too long for sure, because there's plenty of other people that are willing to also take interest for sure. So even if there's a vendor that you don't know hands down, I say definitely treat it like you're actually seeing or interacting with, of course, a pretty much an employee at a local store that you normally shop around for sure. So if there's anything that piques your interest, then don't be afraid to ask to see if they can actually do something for you. And if they have something that you're looking for, I think you'll get yourself fully covered for sure, as long as, of course, you have your wallet on hand and everything. So, Mousey.
Thing that I have is if a vendor is giving you a discount but nobody else, don't take it.
Don't take it.
It's kind of sus. Just saying. Unless if it's like kind of like a makeup or something, but if it's like just like out of the blue, I kind of be careful. Yeah. If that's serious, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, you always need to be careful, not just at conventions, but even at like department stores. You're gonna be careful with buying makeup and other like beauty products and all that. So I do know, I remember talking to a cosplayer once, and they had mentioned that sometimes like vendors will like offer like a discount on like Sundays because they're like trying to sell most of their products and everything. So like, you know, like sometimes, not all conventions, I'm just saying like there are some folks in some conventions that may offer it a little bit cheaper on Sundays because maybe they're trying to get the product out and all that. So yeah, really depends. So but yeah, always ask vendors, you know, like the price and everything, and especially if there's no sticker on it. It's like, oh gosh, what is this? So let's see. So usually whenever I'm walking around and I see a vendor like at Artist Alley or a cosplayer or something, I usually go up and I'll greet them. I'll say like, hey, how are you doing? How's your day going? Sometimes they'll have like a little spiel. And they'll be like, oh, I made this comic book and it's about blah, 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 blah. And I'll just kind of stand there and I'll listen. I'll be, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that sounds really cool. Can I look at it and everything? I usually, like, you know, I try to be polite. I stay curious, ask questions and everything. Like, how long did it take you to work on this? Like, what's your favorite part? Like, stuff like that. So, and then, you know, if I'm like interested in buying something, but I just started looking around, like, I'll let them know. Like, for example, like I saw some like really cute stickers at Four State Comic Con Harrisburg, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need these, I want these. But I had just gotten in, and it's like, don't buy the first thing you see, like still look around. So I was like, okay, so I just told the lady, I'm like, you know, hey, like these stickers are cute, I'm interested, but I want to keep looking around. She's like, oh yeah, like take your time, it's fine. So, but if there's like something in a booth and I'm not interested, I just like thank that person anyway. I'll be like, oh, thank you. And they're like, oh yeah, sure. And then I just like walk away. So it's fine if you don't buy everything from everybody, but just, you know, say thank you. Because, you know, they're given time and energy and resources to be there. So, yep. All right, let me see. So up next is kind of similar, but different folks. What are some guidelines for talking with other people at conventions, such as staff, other cosplayers, etc.?
With staff, usually I tend to ask questions like, you know, when would they show, when the guests show up, or, you know, how long are they gonna be there for? And if I wear a cosplay, I just be as friendly as possible. I say hi, hello, you know, how are you guys? You mentioned, so.
Well, I guess pretty much on my part, I think I know staff members are, of course, the key component to help keep a convention organized by far. In fact, during my time at conventions, I think I know about maybe 2 or 3 that I've been to where, of course, I've actually had good relationship with the people running these conventions by far. So I guess if anything, pretty much for staff members, other cosplayers, and other attendees for sure, yeah, I think pretty much on my part, it's always fair to, of course, be kind for who they are for sure. Especially if, again, if there's some friends that you know that are also going as well. Just a way to keep things positive. Make sure you have a really good time and not let anything impact you from, of course, preventing you from having a good time. I think that's what's most important. And even if you're unfamiliar with what's going on at the convention by far, I think it's okay to ask some staff members for questions and stuff like of course, as Jason mentioned, pretty much what are the guests gonna be at their booth where they're signing, or where can I go for, of course, the panel that I want to go to, or any of that other stuff for the most part for sure. So I guess it is fair that if you're actually unfamiliar with this kind of territory by far, don't be afraid to ask questions for the most part. I think it can really help you out in the long run to really get you on a full understanding with everything. I mean, everything that goes on.
Something that I would suggest, which was a really good point from Bella, she's kind of down here snoozing a little bit because she's tired from a week. Something that she told me that she does is that she is very mindful with everything, and she makes sure that any staff member that she meets, she knows their name and she shakes their hand, she looks them in the eye. She becomes professional but also very, very friendly. That way, you know, in case that someone came in, working. But in case if there is some sort of emergency or misunderstanding, everything's fine, everything's good.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, you want to be, nice, polite, and kind to other cosplayers and stuff. So, I feel like most of the time, whenever I meet other cosplayers, like we start geeking out about each other's cosplays and talking about the fandom of the show, just like, oh my gosh, I love that show and all this stuff. So it makes for good memories. Not only that, but whenever I do see staff members, I do say hi. Like, hey, how's your day going and stuff. So I know this past convention, I definitely talked to a lot more staff members. That's because Cosplay Tea Time, we did our first panel, so of course I had to talk to staff members there, and they were very polite, they were very encouraging, they're like, you got this. So I was so nervous, they're like, no, you'll do great, you'll do just fine. So yeah, but I do know whenever I do see them, I just send them kind vibes, because I'm sure they got a million and one thoughts going through their mind, like trying to make sure like things are running smoothly, going safe, and all that. So trying to put together a good convention, so which we appreciate. We have a place to go, cosplay, geek out on some merch, some Funko Pops. So always a good time. Let's see. Up next we have, when someone is being loud or speaking too loudly, what do you do? How would you tell someone that they are being too loud?
Ooh. What I would do is I would try to sound like the most professional, like, hey, could you, like lower the volume just a little bit, or like use your inner voice, and just be mindful of people around, because sometimes people might have headaches and it might get worse.
Well, pretty much on my part, I usually get that whole hug. Usually, I think from pretty much everything that goes on outside of a convention by far. But I do agree with, of course, what Jason said. I think if someone is, of course, not very prone for you speaking very loudly for sure, I think I would usually tell people, okay, I think you might want to lower your voice down. I think it's getting a little bit too loud for the most part. So yeah, that's definitely the best advice that I can give to someone. And I mean, yes, I I do know that it sometimes happens when people usually get too excited, but always remember if you're indoors somewhere, I think it is probably best to use your indoor voice by far and not causing a commotion towards everyone else that's attending the convention by far.
How, if someone's being too loud, you just want to kind of let them know, like, hey, you're being too loud for my ears, or something like that. I know, Bella, she is sometimes a little bit sound sensitive to certain sounds and certain volumes. And certain volumes do kind of spook her out. Just because she's kind of a little bit sensitive that way, and that's okay. That's okay. Everyone's, they have their own thing. But just kind of let them know. They say, hey, you're kind of being too loud. Is it okay if you take it down a notch? I'm not trying to sound rude. I'm just trying to let you know in case if you're not aware. And usually whenever you are, you say it like that. Sometimes you'll get like an apology. Sometimes you really won't, depending on the person. But as long as you come off on the right tail or tail, oh, then I think I'll be fine.
Yeah, definitely. As long as the intention is good, that you're letting someone know, like, hey,
Communication is key.
Yes, very much so. Let me see. I'm not that brave. I cannot call people out, so it's just like, no. So, but this has happened to me before where I'm either like standing at a table looking at some jewelry or something, or if I'm looking at like a figurine, and then all of a sudden it's like I just notice like the person either next to me or behind me starts speaking loudly, and I'm a very jumpy person, so I scare very easily. So like I'll like kind of jump and I'll startle because like that fight or flight is triggered and everything. And then I tend to move away from the table. Like I'll just kind of stop what I'm looking at and just kind of like move my way from the situation. And then I'll usually just come back like later on whenever it's quiet and there's not a lot of folks around. But if I was brave enough to speak up, maybe if it's somebody that I knew, not a complete stranger, but if it was somebody I knew, I would just reframe it as excitement. Like, hey, I can see that you're excited right now because we're at convention, we're having fun. However, let's try to keep our voice down. Let's try to turn down the volume and everything like that. So, we all and even other congoers can have a good time. So, yeah, I'll work on that. Slowly but surely. All right, let's see. Ooh, this one's a fun question, which is, how does one ask to take photos?
But yes, the way I would ask them, I would be very polite, but like, hi, might I please get a picture of you? And if they say yes, then go right ahead. If they say no, then I'll just take them and just still try to strike up a conversation with them.
Well, I guess pretty much on my part, I think I might as well start by saying that's a very good question. So yeah, I guess it's quite obvious that I've actually taken a lot of pictures of other cosplayers for sure. So again, I do have to agree with Jason by far. And usually, whenever I do want to take a picture of another cosplayer, I'll be like, "Oh, hey, I really love your cosplay by far. Do you suppose I can get a picture of you in that?" And yeah, it does sometimes differ for the most part because I'm pretty sure. We all know for the fact that pretty much there are some cosplayers that can handle having their picture taken or be recorded on a video, and sometimes there are some cosplayers that don't, to be honest. So yeah, if pretty much a good majority of them actually said yes, then by all means, that I think will be great. But if they say no, then that's totally fine. You can't take it as, of course, a massive insult. Just take it for what it is and be like, oh, okay, I understand. Sorry if I had to ask for sure. So yeah, that's definitely the one thing to really keep in mind if you want pretty much if you meet other cosplayers for sure. And it is definitely one of the major components to, of course, the good saying that we always say all the time, which is, of course, cosplay is not consent. So you really gotta really apply to, of course, all that hands down by far. But again, yeah, if half of them actually are willing to take it once you ask, then that's cool. I think it'll be really great by far, because it'll not only be a great way to show the cosplayer ourselves, showing off, of course, what they've actually whipped up and gain such compliments and some recognition. But also get the hang really nice picture or video of them hands down to show that, hey, this cosplayer has actually worked hard to show off their cosplay. That is definitely the biggest thing by far on my part.
Agree with you and you. Oh, and something that I would like to add is something I've been noticing very interesting that Bella does is whenever someone compliments Bella's costume when she's like cosplaying in public or at a convention, if they just compliment her, she will actually encourage the idea, do you want to take a picture of me for memories? And usually they'll say yes, and usually they say no, because when they say yes, they're like, oh, I never thought of that before. And it gives them, a thought, because sometimes people will compliment your cosplay and they won't ask for a picture. And then later they'll be like, oh man, I never asked that awesome cosplayer for a picture. You know? So it's kind of why Bella doesn't want anyone who compliments her to, miss having a picture or a reference or a memory that they compliment and they met a cosplayer that was cosplay their favorite character or that was cosplaying something that they thought that was really cool.
Very cool. So, let me see. So, how does one ask to take a photo? I usually just go up to the cosplayer. I'm a very socially anxious person, if you all have not guessed. That's why I love cosplaying Komi-san, because hashtag relatable. But, once I muster up the bravery, I'll go up to them and ask them for a photo. I'm just like, hey, I love your cosplay. May I take a photo with you or take a photo of you? And they're like, sure. Strike a pose and everything. So I think most of the time, maybe they want a photo as well. I don't know. But yeah, it's usually a good time. So I haven't had any trouble with that, which is awesome. So yeah, I go up, take a photo. If I do have a moment, like if we're not standing in the middle of the aisle, which you shouldn't do, don't be blocking those aisles. But if I have a moment, I'll ask like, do you have an Instagram so I can tag you later on? They'll say yes. So Wi-Fi willing, we'll try to look up each other on Instagram. So I then later on am able to tag them in the photo, which we'll get to here in a minute. Sometimes I'll talk to them for a little bit because that also helps too with making convention friends and finding them later on, like the following year. It's like, oh my gosh, I remember. Take more photos, yay! So, but whenever people come up and ask me to take a photo of my cosplay, I always say yes. So, I haven't really turned anyone down. I haven't like had a bad vibe, or I'm just like, maybe not. Most of the time, they're just like really excited to see my cosplay, especially Komi-san. She was popular. Don't know why. But like, like folks were coming over and they're like, oh my gosh, can I get a photo? And I would usually respond with yes. And then I followed up with thank you for asking. Because you should be asking to take pictures of cosplayers because that's the polite thing to do. That's convention etiquette for you. So I always thank them, and I hope that that also inspires them to make sure that they ask other cosplayers to take photos as well. So trying to get that ball rolling. So and the other thing I wanted to mention too, I just thought of this, is whenever you see a cosplayer either sitting down, like against the wall, they look like they're taking a break, they're eating food, maybe they're just trying to get some rest or something, do not ask for photos. They're trying to recharge. They're trying to hydrate. They're trying to eat. Do not ask for photos. Let them do it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see them walking around later on, then you can ask for photos. But I wanted to bring that up too because let us eat. Let us eat. So, but yeah, wanted to point that out as well. Alrighty.
That's my stick as well. It's like, if I'm being, it's like, please don't.
Don't ask. We want to eat. Let me see. Up next we have, this is kind of like a self-reflection question, if you will, which is, how do you keep yourself in check at conventions?
Oh goodness. Usually what I'll do is like, at certain points I'll stop and make sure, like, hey, am I still okay? Do I feel good? Or, can I still carry on through the day? Or do I need to go get food, use the bathroom? Or, because I always want to make sure that I'm taking care of myself and others around me.
All right. Well, again, I guess that is a very good question. I think pretty much the one thing to keep me in check whenever I go to conventions by far is, of course, I usually bring all of my essentials with me, like, of course, my phone, my wallet, pretty much everything to really keep me occupied for the most part. And I would usually organize them in like a bag or something, so I can actually make sure that I know I have everything that I need for the most part. And then and I think to really keep in mind is really, I think long and hard. Again, as Jason stated, see about when you can go to the bathroom, when will be a good time to fix up your cosplay before a major event, or making sure that you have everything like your laptop and everything else that you might need if you ever host a panel for the most part. And yeah, I think going back a bit to, of course, what we mentioned earlier about staff members, if you're somehow losing everything and get everything set up, don't be afraid to ask for help, because they actually do have a lot of experience and they are experts for the most part. So if they're willing to help you out, I say definitely take it for sure. So I think keeping your essentials, everything on hand for sure, and even keeping track of the time and stuff, of course, when you'll actually be there and how long you'll actually stay. I think you'll be in good hands for the most part. But again, I think my advice for the most part is don't stay for too long, because if anything, the last thing you want to do is, of course, pretty much pass out in the middle of the convention floor by far, hands down. So I think it's always important to really keep yourself in check and make sure that you are safe both physically and mentally for sure. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say. So I'll turn it over to Mousey.
Oh, wow. Back to me again. um, so another topic I wanted to put into this question is communication. Sometimes communication, you tend to miscommunicate things, especially with expressions, the way that we're standing, how how we're looking at people, how we're just anything that has to do with communication. Um, Something that I know Bella's always scared of is accidentally offending people, but she never wants to offend people at all. She'll always say, "Hi, nice to meet you," and you know, during a conversation or during a photo shoot or something. Uh, because she has this fear, she'll mention, and at if any point in this conversation or any time that I may have a weird face on my thing or it's like this and that. I may not know it due to like these reasons. And just kind of let me know. And it's not intentional. It's just, I'm wired differently. Or she says that.
Yeah.
I used her thing as that. example, which she's okay with.
Okay, that's good. As long as she's comfortable with you sharing. So all that matters. Let me see. So how do I keep myself in check? I usually check in with myself like every half hour to an hour or so, just to see like where my energy level's at. I feel like I need like one of those little thermometer things just to like keep it going, or like use a rating scale. I love rating scales. I use them with my clients. So it's like on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being low, 5 being high. Where am I at? So yeah, that sort of thing. If nothing hurts, and I'm still able to keep going, I'll keep going. Of course, hydrate. So even if you don't think you're thirsty, drink your water, drink your tea. So keep going. If not, try to look for a spot to rest if I am feeling tired. Most of the time, especially if you go to like conventions pretty frequently, you just get used to the layout, so you kind of can already like plan your rest spots beforehand. So whenever you do feel tired, it's like, okay, like, there's some tables over here, or maybe there's like a library or a quiet room or something. Maybe you go sit out in your car for a few minutes, or if you have a hotel room, you can always go back and chill in there. So yeah, definitely make sure you're checking in with yourself, however you need to do it. If you need friends to help you, if it's an internal thing. But yeah, make sure that you're taking care of yourself during conventions. Very, very important. All right, let's see. Up next, we have, what are some guidelines for talking to or being respectful for folks who have disabilities, both invisible and visible?
Ooh, wow.
I had to put that in there because it's important.
Sorry. Honestly, I'm not really sure what to say.
Okay.
Man, this is actually a really tough question by far because, to be honest, I think pretty much from what I can gather, I think pretty much with people with disabilities and stuff going to a convention, well, I guess I made no big surprise on my part, but I guess either way, I think from what I can gather, I say pretty much if you are going to treat people with disabilities during a convention, my biggest advice by far is definitely treat them as like regular human beings by far because, well, they're pretty much like us from what I can gather. So yeah, and I think I know hands down they are willing to get themselves in for a great time. So if you're willing to give them such a great time, then I say they're all for hands down because yeah, I guess pretty much if anything, pretty much every venue from what I could gather does actually have stuff to help out with people with disabilities and stuff. So if they're unable to do some of the stuff that we're actually doing as of now, I say that's okay for the from what I can gather. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, on my part. So yeah, but probably the biggest thing by far is whenever you go to a convention and you see someone with a disability, definitely treat them as like regular human beings like us.
Yes, definitely treat them as human beings. I agree. Something that Bella just mentioned was that some people they have service animals due to certain conditions, or they'll either pass out or something like that along the lines. I would suggest not asking to pet them because those animals are, on the job. They're doing the job. They're in training, and usually you can spot when a service animal is in training or is not a service animal versus is fully trained and is a service animal because service animals will tend to act very behaved versus non-service animals will tend to constantly act up and act like regular animals with their own traits of behavior. Versus in the middle, the service animal is expressing that they're trying to still get used to those training things, which um I I don't think in my lifetime I've ever met a service animal that was in training and was on the job. That you know, you just never know. Things are different nowadays.
So, yeah, whenever I see a like a service animal, either at convention or out and about and stuff, I always mentally, like in my mind, I'm always like sending like a little positive vibe to the service animal. I'm just like, you're doing a good job, you're doing great, sweetie, and all this stuff. Because I'm just like, yay, they're helping. So, but yeah, never thought of that. So thank you, Mousey, for bringing that up. So let me see. So if I see somebody who has like a visible disability, whether it be crutches, wheelchair, and everything, I usually try to move to the side. Again, make sure we're not blocking those aisles. Make sure you take it to the side, take it to the table, whatever it may be, because that way there's enough room for folks to walk around and everything. So I usually move to the side. If I make eye contact with that person, of course I'm gonna say, hey, how you doing? Love your cosplay. Hope you're having a good day and everything. So I do try to smile and say hi to pretty much everyone that makes eye contact with me. If they're not gonna make eye contact, I was like, okay, not gonna greet you. But if I do, then I just smile. How's your day going? Because you never know what kind of day they're having. Like, yes, conventions are fun, but they're also tiring, mentally draining, financial draining as well. Trying to spend money to get money, bringing all this stuff in. So you never know what kind of day that person's having. So, so if I'm around others, I'll kind of keep them in check and ask how they're doing. If I'm going with like a couple friends, or if I meet folks, we just kind of vibe and chill. Like every so often, I'll check in with them too and just be like, how you doing? Did you drink water? Did you drink all water to die? So yeah, that kind of thing too. And we also have some podcast recordings going more in depth about invisible disabilities, conventions and disabilities, and all that. So be sure to check those out after this one. So, all right, next up we have after the convention, how do you tag people/events in like a social media post?
Normally, what I do, I just mentioned before, way before, it's like, oh, you have Instagram stuff, and then you add them, tag it, or and whatever event you go to, just like, hey, I was here, come check this place out. It's fun, it's amazing, you'll have a good time.
Wow. Now I cannot tell you on, of course, the numerous times I've been asked that question, and well, here's the thing. I guess pretty much in this day of the internet, social media and stuff is, of course, the one thing that can really fire things up for conventions for the most part, for sure. So I guess either way, I think if you were to find a cosplayer on social media that are pretty much attending the same event as you, that could be pretty hard to, of course, find by far. But I think probably I think the most easiest thing on my part, as like a good example, is that pretty much a good number of cosplayers and stuff would definitely have business cards in their hands with, of course, the list of social medias that they have listed, to which I made no secret on that front as someone who actually has done that in the past before, and it has been working out quite well. So yeah, if you were to actually been giving any business cards in hand with a list of social media and stuff, I say that will make things pretty easy to find where they are. So if you actually have a picture of course, with that said cosplayer, and you want to tag them in, then I say you're in good hands on that front by far. So yeah, and I think I know pretty much finding them on the regular is fine for what it is, but again, business cards can really help out a whole lot and can make finding them much easier for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Before you go and you post your pictures of everybody and stuff, I would be mindful, and even before taking a picture with them, I would ask for permission, just in case if I want to post this online. You can being posted online. This is my social media, blah blah. Here you go. That way they know where it's going to and stuff, and get their tags as well. Before you take the picture, and then take the picture. If we need to do any editing on it, just do, some lighting editing in case if the lighting is bad, nothing else. Because that would be non-consensual. But, edit pictures except for lighting. So you go ahead and do lighting if you need to, and then you can uh post them, have it tagged. I know with Instagram, you can put the tag on the photo. You can do collaborated posts, and but I would make sure with all that that's okay, what they would prefer, because some people's social medias are meant to be around either something like business or accounting, and then you meet the accountant, and then you take pictures with them, and then if you do collaborative posts, it doesn't really sit with the theme of their account, so you kind of have to be mindful with it, and all that fun jazz. Just kind of just make sure on every single level before you post, and then you post pictures that are posted, and even after you post them, I would take those pictures. I take the pictures that you have with that person, and I would send it to them individually as well, just so they have it in case if they didn't get pictures or if they got different pictures.
I've done that so many times, especially since I'm like the one during cosplay contests, like sitting in the corner, like taking pictures of my friends and stuff. I usually send those like afterwards and everything, and then they send me photos. So yeah, the great photo exchange. Whoop whoop. It does happen. I feel like it is a thing. I know.
Exchange.
It's very exciting. So yeah, I didn't know this was such a popular question. What Ackley was saying about like, oh yeah, like how do you tag people in events? I was just like, it's always whenever I come home, it's like, oh yeah, I gotta tag people. It's like, do I remember who's who and all this and stuff? So, but yeah, so I usually wait either later that day or the next day to kind of post photos and stuff. Like I said before, like I'll try to make sure that I get that person's Instagram handle, that I'm following them. Actually, I think I gain a lot of followers after I go to convention because it's like all of a sudden a bunch of people want to follow me, which is awesome. So make more friends, yay! I also make sure to use hashtags. So use like that convention's hashtags. For example, 4-State Comic Con 2024. 4-State convention, Comic-Con, stuff like that. So that way, whenever people are scrolling or they're looking for photos and stuff, then they'll be able to see those as well. Now, if I post somebody in a photo, but I don't know who it is, in my description, I put a little blurb that says, if you see yourself, message me and I'll be sure to tag you. So I do have that blurb, I think, on every single convention post because I'm just like, you never know who wants to be tagged. So yeah, there's that. And there was one other thing. Oh, YouTube videos. So with YouTube, I do like a little like photo slideshow type thing. And what I've done recently is I use Canva. Hashtag not sponsored. I use Canva and I'll make like the little video. I'll put the photo of the two of us and then I put that person's social media tag right next to them. So I'll say like Instagram, so and so, and then that way it's credited. If they want to go, if like followers see it and they want to go follow that person, that'd be awesome. But yeah, trying to keep all my ducks in a row. So we like the ducks in a row. All right, let me see. I do have another question. Don't know if y'all want to entertain it, but since this has been a hot topic, a hot tea topic, hot tea topic in the cosplay community for quite some time, and it was also mentioned here a little bit ago as well. I don't know if you all would be interested in kind of explaining your take on what the phrase "cosplay is not consent" means. And like, what does it mean?
Oh boy. Cosplay does not equal consent means, well, I really don't want to say, for the sake of the audience, the actual explanation, but it's just, please don't try to hand cosplayers at conventions. It's 100% not okay. It's wrong. It's just because you're crossing a line. It's just like, no, please don't do that. Please respect the boundaries.
Well, I think pretty much on my part. Again, we all know the old saying, "Cosplay is not consent." For the from what I can gather, and there's plenty of other people, and even videos on YouTube that actually would explain all that hands down. So I think pretty much my take, of course, pretty much cosplay is not consent. I think it's pretty much a good example of course, just be respectful and mindful for plenty of these cosplayers by far, because they really worked hard and of course making these cosplays for sure, and they really want to show it off and get some really great feedback for sure, and never cross any boundaries for sure. So yeah, I guess either way, that is of course what I could say on my part, hands down. So yeah, cosplay is not consent is of course again kind of like what Jason said, but I think pretty much on my part, it is a good example of always be mindful and respectful to others in general, not in some areas, but in all areas by far. So yeah.
So everything that these last two just said, yes, respect boundaries. If you want to hug a cosplayer, ask before. Some people, they are okay with being touched. Some people are not okay with being touched. Just kind of simple stuff like that. If you don't want to come up as rude ever, just mention like, hey, I'm gonna come up as rude, but I'm curious about this. Just ask question, ask the question. If the cosplayers are like, yeah, I don't want to answer that question, just respect them and go, oh, okay, my bad. And I would kind of suggest don't ask why, because sometimes it leads to personal stuff.
There you have it.
So everything boundaries.
Yes, gotta respect the boundaries, Jason said. Well put. So let me see. Yes, so make sure you're asking for permission to take photos. No means no. If somebody's not comfortable, just be like, all right, my bad. Like, just don't push that to the limit. So, and if you feel unsafe during a convention, you can always approach a staff member, security person. You can always approach other cosplayers as well. We're here to help one another out, make sure that everyone's having a good time and staying safe. That's such a huge priority. So I'm definitely one of those people. You can come out, you can come hang out with me. I'm probably going to quote the entire Ruby Chibi catalog to you, but hey, I'm a safe person to hang out with. So let's just geek out. So yeah, because for me, cosplay brings joy and happiness, and I just want to share that with other people. So that's partially why. Alrighty, and with that, I am all out of questions. So, but as always, I like to turn it over to guest and tea sippers, see if they have any questions for folks in the tea room here or for viewers out there. So, Jason.
This is gonna be a throwback question. What year was the first convention you ever attended?
What year? Actually, you can go first.
Man, that's actually a very good question on my part. I think my first year I've actually attended a convention was probably all the way back in 2013, actually. So quite a long way. And again, pretty much well over 11 years later and going to over 30 conventions as of now on my part. That's just saying a whole lot. And I'm already begging for a massive step up as we speak. So, Mousey.
Okay. Oh, my first convention is this year, 2024, SwampCon. Because I snuck in Bella's backpack and she found me, and she was like, "Okay, I guess you can have fun with me today." But her first convention in Europe, it was actually the same convention. It was, I believe, 2018. She dressed up as Ruby from the show called Ruby, RWBY. She was season 1. If you're watching and you're like, oh yeah, I met a Ruby Rose cosplayer. that was her. I used to wear glasses, so she had her glasses on. But yeah, it was adorable. It's cute. I believe she has pictures somewhere on her social medias of her as Ruby Rose from that first time. And she went back in 2019, and COVID hit. She didn't go back until 2023. At that time, going to conventions for a long time. Her contact to conventions was SwampCon 2023. Oh yeah, she's kind of just been enjoying life. Yeah, so have I.
Yeah, let me see. I was supposed to go to convention in 2020, but then pandemic, so couldn't go. So I didn't go to my first convention until late April, early May. I went to 4-State Comic Con for the first time in 2022, so that was a lot of fun. So how about you, Jason? First convention?
First time I ever went was 2017.
Nice.
So, been going on for about 7 years.
Nice. And how the time flies. Goes by so quick. All right. Well, thank you for your question. Let me see. Did you have other questions for folks?
Nope.
No. Awesome. Ackley, you're up.
Well, I don't have any questions on my part, but I will say this as of now for anyone watching this for sure. Yeah, I think if you ever do go to a convention, definitely take note, of course, what all of us are saying for sure. And if you're able to, of course, take everything that we've been saying right before you go to your next convention that'll be coming up very soon. I say you're going to be in good hands for a really great time. And of course, for not just you and everyone else that'll be going as well. And chances are, I think you're going to make it to, of course, where we're actually are right now. Amen. Ow, my thumb.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. I knew I had to make this joke on my part. Sorry for the scare. So yeah, Mousey.
I don't have any questions.
No.
If you have any questions, please make sure to put them down below in the comments box. Or if you want to ask the questions, you can go to any of our social medias. And yeah, we are fun. We will answer your questions. Yeah.
Let's get a little plug in right there. So, yeah, just real quick. Cosplay Tea Time, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Make sure to follow our lovely guests and tea sippers here, which thank you all for attending, answering these questions, sharing your stories and experiences about convention etiquette. I really do appreciate it. So, very, very much. I can't start crying. Okay, so let me see. If you are a cosplayer and you want to join Cosplay Tea Time, make sure to message us on our Instagram. Link trees down below. Must be 18 years or older to join. We'll get you in our Discord server and you can get squared away. So we're wrapping up season 6. Season 7's gonna take a little while to get there, but you're more than welcome to come, hang out, vibe, geek about shows, share off cosplays, all that good stuff. So let me see, and I think that's it, other than just to say thank you. Thank you for taking the time to watch. It's just a good little reminder of what to do before attending conventions. So, I don't know, maybe somebody's on the way to convention. You're like, ooh, how should I act or something? Then they're listening to this. That'd be so exciting. So, make sure you leave a nice, kind comment down below. Alrighty, with that, we're going to go ahead and take off into our little corners of the world. But again, thank you all so much for joining. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. We hope everyone's taking care, staying safe, and as always, keep sipping away. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.